All right, today I want to take a little bit of a different approach to what I normally do. Usually on this channel, we talk about a lot of currency making, some filter stuff, making a character. But today I wanted to talk about crafting. Crafting is usually one of those things that people are a little nervous about, a little scared about, a little exciting about. And over the last couple of days on stream, well, roughly the last like 24 hours from recording this video, we've been, farming as a group to create a group project. Now on your screen above me, you'll see there's a really cool item, and that item doesn't really exist yet, and we're attempting to make that item. Essentially what happened was I was playing the Slayer Penance Brand Trickster, which you guys can find the video on my channel, and my buddy Sax was like, dude, I was playing that build, I loved it, I wanted to do a little bit of a mapping build so I can use that as a boss build, and I made this really cool build. And I was like, what are you playing? And he goes, hop into a call with me. And big shout outs to him for like taking the time to like sell me on this. It literally took him going like this, and I was like completely sold. Essentially, he's playing KB of clustering, or kinetic blast of clustering, but instead of doing it like Palstron's doing and some other people are doing on stacking and mana stacking, he's playing it on a Deadeye. And I was just like immediately sold. Ranger's my favorite class. I love anything Deadeye, and if I have an excuse to play Deadeye, I'm going to take it. And he built this crazy cool Magic Find character, and he did a map, and I fell in love with it, and I put it together. I did one map with it, and he goes, what do you think? How do you like it? And I said, it's great. I said, I have some extra currency. Is there a better weapon? Can I mirror a wand? Is there any upgrades? And he goes, unfortunately, the weapon doesn't exist. And I was like, great. So now what? And he goes, well, we have to make it. And I was like, all right, how do we do it? I'm in. What are the steps? What do we want? What's it look like? So I got together with my buddy Bubbles. I got together with my buddy MB, my buddy Snuggly, Sax, and you guys have been helping too. And we've been putting together a weapon to build for this character. Now, there's a lot going on with POE, and there's a lot in the crafting world and a lot in the mirror service world, and we're going to ignore all of that. Essentially, what we're going to talk about today is a weapon that me and my friends are trying to put together with the help of you guys, if you want to help, or if you want to learn, or whatever. And we're going to put together a weapon, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of what's going on. Currently, the weapon is not finished. The weapon is very far from finished. But a lot of people are really intimidated and weirded out and scared by mirror crafting, and they're just overall really nervous about how to go from this to something like that. And today I want to take this to walk you through the steps of it, hence my little yapping session to give you the background of how we got to here. So the first things first that we did is we searched on the POE trade site for an eye level 84 imbued wand. So we came over to trade, we hit show filters, we come down here to quality, and we searched for a qualityed imbued wand. And you see split wands that they're relatively cheap, 150C, 155C, unsplit 3 divines. Now, we bought a unsplit wand, and then we split it 3 times. What I mean by we split it 3 times is, if you take the wand and put 6 modifiers on it, so it's rare with 6 modifiers, 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes, you can come on over here to the blood altar and you can search up the word split. And what that'll do is that'll allow you to split the item 2 times or 3 times if you have the proper beast. When you split it 3 times, you need a Black Morrigan and a Mephenemal Plague Arachnid. And what that will do is that will take this item and make 3 copies of it. It'll take 1 prefix and 1 suffix and move it to an item, another prefix, another suffix, and move it to an item. And a third time, it'll take another prefix, another suffix, and it'll move it to another imbued wand. So now you have 3 imbued wands, each with 30%. And the reason why they did that is we needed to bring it over to the Hoarder crafting station. To make this item have the 3 implicits on it, you need to synthesize this item. Synthesizing this item can give a random synthesis implicit, cannot be used on unique, influence, synthesized, or fractured items. So this takes 5,000 yellow juice and 1 white. And when I click this onto the item, it can give me 1, 2, or 3 synthesized, implicits. The problem with doing this is once you synthesize an item, that's it. If it gets 1, it's 1. If it gets 2, it's 2. And if it gets 3, it's 3. I think to get 3, it's like a 1 in 30, 1 in 40. Don't quote me. I don't have that exact number. I know it is relatively difficult to get 3. So you're going to say to me, well, if I click it and I get 1, then what do I do? Like now I'm in a bad spot. So let's talk about imprinting. To make the weapon have 3 of these synthesize modifiers, we can create something called an imprint or a failsafe. So I can come over here, I could put my weapon in, I could type the word imprint, and I can do something called create an imprint of a magic item. This requires 1 Kraken Chimeral, which you guys have probably heard of in the PoE world, and 3 of any rare beast. A rare beast inside of your menagerie looks like it was drawn by a 5-year-old. These are the things that people hate bottling up. These are the things that people don't want to bottle up. And currently right now, 60 of these in an inventory is worth about 2 divines, sometimes 2.5, depending on you have. And Kraken Chimerals are roughly 1.1, 1.2 divines. Essentially what I would do is I would take my weapon here. I would type the word imprint. I would create an imprint of the magic item. And then I would get a little imprint. That's what these orbs are in my inventory. These orbs create a fail-safe for my item. So essentially anything I do to my item outside of this current state, if I don't like the result, I click on the orb, click on the item, and it puts it back to that fail-safe. And we're gonna look at more imprints in a minute. Essentially, as long as I don't corrupt the item, no matter what I do to the item, I can put it back to the save state unless I delete it. I use it with an Awakener's Orb and destroy it. I do like any weird stuff to it, like fracturing. You can't use it on a fracture item either. As long as I don't corrupt it, fracture it, destroy it, break it in an Awakener's Orb by making it the first item that's destroyed, I can reset my item back to its original state. So what I would do is I would make an imprint or 5. I would come on over to harvest. I'd put it in. I would type synthesis and hit craft. If I got 1, I would use the orb, imprint it back, do it again. If I got 1 again, I would imprint it back. Got 2, imprint it back. And we would do this until we got to 3. Once we got to 3 implicits, we then needed to decide what implicits we wanted to use on the item and how we wanted to make it suit the needs that what we wanted. Since we were playing KB and Deadeye, and since we were not doing the int and mana stacking, we needed to change up the wand that currently exists, because you can buy a mirror wand that would suit the Hierophant version, I think it's Hierophant, or the Templar version of it with the stacking. But since we want to play Magic Find and we want to do a little bit different, we have to make the wand unique and interesting towards what we want to build. So we decided that we were going to make the wand above, and we needed the implicits above. So we needed to get on the wand flat fizz damage, flat attack speed, and flat spell damage. Right now we have tier 1 flat physical damage, we have tier 1 flat attack speed, and we have tier 2 spell damage. To get to this point right here was multi-mirror. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to hide that fact from you. This was a multi-mirror project to get to this step. The reason being, to get to this step, we have to do the following things. I actually need some yellow beasts to show you guys how to do this. To get to this step, we need to do the following. Okay, let's put these here so we don't lose these. We have to get an absolute ton of yellow beast, which is what I'm grabbing right now from our guild stash. We get a bunch of yellow beast, and then we need to make a ton of imprints. And what I mean by a ton of imprints is I mean a ton of imprints. So step 1 would be to make an imprint of our weapon. You see right now we have an imprint of our weapon. Step 2 would be to get a bunch of yellow beasts, which I have just done. So we grabbed a handful of yellow beasts. Step 3 is to get a bunch of Kraken Chimerals, which you see I have an absolute metric ton of them, so that I can get save states of my weapon, because I'm going to need save states of my weapon. And step 4 would be to get some Vivid Vultures, because we're going to need Vivid Vultures. The first thing, and the absolute positive first thing you want to do, is create a handful of save states of your weapon. You can see right here, I have 3 save states right here, perfectly put to the side. My buddy MB has one, my buddy Sax has one. You know, everybody that's working on this, Bubbles has one, has a absolute save state, a copy of the weapon. God forbid I mess it up. I am human, things do happen. So now, to get the modifiers that I want on the weapon, I would make a couple of save states, and then I would start to Vivid Vulture. So I would come over here, I would type the word imprint, and I would see that I have Vivid Vultures. So this rerolls the Synthesize implicit modifier. So that means that when I Vivid Vulture and I click this now, it will change and re-roll this item. So Sax is watching this and he's gonna cry. He's gonna be like, "Sir, please, the wand is done. Don't do this." But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Right? So the Blood Altar's done. We have now synthesized the item. we click on the item and we take a look at it, and you see that flat attack damage has rolled into chaos damage. If this is the first synthesized mod that you're looking for, as in this is one of 3, it doesn't matter that it rolled into this. You would just Vivid Vulture again until you found one modifier that you wanted. So let's fast forward the process a little bit, and let's just say that the one modifier that I wanted would be spell damage. So now I have spell damage. I would re-imprint the wand and lock in spell damage. I would then, with my imprint of spell damage, synthesize again and miss. So, you know, pretend with me that we missed. So we missed and we didn't get something. We've removed spell damage, or in our case here, we removed physical attack. I use my imprint, I click on the imprint, and just like that, the weapon is set back to exactly where it was. I have what I want on it. And in our case, in my current state of this weapon, it's not done. I actually want to upgrade the spell damage. So we would do exactly what we just did for item 1. We would just keep rolling until we found 1. Then we would imprint, and then we would start rolling for 2. And every time we removed 1, we would imprint back. And then we would keep doing this until we found 2. When we had 1 and 2, we would then roll for 3 with pretty much, you would have to create an imprint like this. And then you would have to synthesize and hope to hit. So we create an imprint. We're actually going to create another imprint just to be on the safe side, because every time that I do this, I would like to be super safe. I create 2 imprints, I go to synthesize, and I roll. I am attempting to hope to roll off the 3rd modifier into the modifier that I want. Now, the really cool thing about synthesize re-rolling is once you get to the 3 tiers of mods that you want, they are essentially locked in place. So when I press this re-roll a synthesize implicit modifier button and I do this, if the game checks that I hit spell damage, it is locked in place at the spell damage modifier that I have. So if I were to do this right now and kill this beast, and I rolled the 1 in 400, 1 in 500, 1 in 300, whatever it is for spell damage, and it rolled spell damage, it would lock in place exactly where it was, and it would just re-roll that version of spell damage. But we miss and we get projectile speed, we imprint it back, and we go again. And we would do this and do this and do this until the tiers of our modifiers decided that they were going to, you know, keep upgrading into the tiers that we wanted to. To get to about where we are now is a little over 4-ish mirrors. So we are currently settling on the mods that we have. The only thing that we can change currently on the wand is upgrading spell damage from 30% to 35. And we've decided that we're going to leave it alone. It is not worth another mirror to get spell damage to go to 35%. So that's synthesize implicits, and that's how we do that. Now the next steps are a little bit more complicated, and I'm actually going to use the aid of Crafted Exile to show you guys how to do this. And I'm going to use a combination of in-game. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a handful of imprints, because now we're done with the synthesize modifiers and we want to move to absolute next steps. Crafting mirror tier items for the following, or proceeding forward from this point, is going to be different based upon the type of item that you're creating. If you're creating a fizz weapon, you would take the steps that I'm about to show you. If you're doing something different, you would take different steps. And if you have questions, you can join the Discord, you can come by the live stream, you could post on the Rumble, you can post, you know, anywhere that you have seen or consumed this content, and I will attempt to guide you or direct you to the next steps of the craft that you're looking for, or somebody in the comment section will help you, or somebody in the Discord or during the live stream will happily help you. We don't mind. We like encouraging teaching, and we want to make sure that you guys playing Path of Exile have the knowledge to maybe one day be able to do this. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just a stepping stone of knowledge to get to this step. So we've made a bunch of save states of our item, and we want to go to next steps. You see, we already rolled on our spell damage onto our weapon, and we rolled on prefixes can't be changed. The reason we do this and we make imprints is rolling on tier 1 spell damage is relatively difficult and pretty costly. Well, it's less costly and more time consuming. So we want to make sure that we never lose that. And because the weapon is blue, we can keep that there. From there, we're going to grab a bunch of Regal Orbs, and we're pretty much going to hope. Since the save state is always like this and nothing changes, we're looking for the prefix modifiers located above, which is % physical damage and flat physical damage. So we're going to Regal and hope for either one of those 2 mods. And you see that we hit tier 6. Tier 6 is not good enough. And then we're going to reforge Fizz and see what we get, because why not? Now we miss altogether. We did hit 3. We technically have the prefix that we want them in the wrong tiers. So we would like 111, 112, or tier 1 spell damage, tier 2 or better percent physical damage, and tier 1 flat physical damage. And then we would just imprint back Regal and Prey, hit fire damage, not what we want. Might as well click this and see what we get. And then completely miss, imprint back, Regal again, miss, fizz, tier 2. Can't settle on tier 2. The difference between tier 2 and tier 1 is so massive. Imprint back, Regal again, fizz roll, tier 7, imprint back, Regal again, reroll fizz, tier 7. And this is why mirror items have mirror fees. This is why things are costly. This is why people buy Vivid Vultures. This is why farming beasts are so important. And this is why a lot of the things that we do is just really what it is, and you know why it's so expensive. Now we're going to actually go to Craft of Exile, and we're going to import this item in the Craft of Exile for the next steps. Usually you would just Control C the item and Control V it, but I was unable to get the item to load with the Synthesize implicit modifiers. And we're going to come on over to Emulator, create new item. We're going to go, where is one-handed weapons? We're going to collect one. We're going to come down here to imbued wand. We're going to select the item level we have, which is 84, our quality 30, and we're going to proceed. To save time in Craft of Exile, I'm going to just search for spell damage, and I'm going to put on tier 1 spell damage. And just like I was showing you guys, if I wanted to practice how hard it would be to do things without destroying currency, I can pretty much just do the same thing that I was doing. And I can make the item here. I could put on prefixes can't be changed. And I can actually just go Regal into Harvest and then Reforge Fizz. And I can just practice here and do this over and over and over. Oh, wait, do I have I have Regal selected, I think. Okay, back up. Regal, go to Harvest. Oh, I didn't click the Reforge button. Reforge, Fizz, click, and see what I get. And then go back and then do it over and over and over. And you guys can actually, if you wanted to, experiment and see how far it would go. Now, let's just assume that I somehow, with the grace of God, managed to make my perfect tier weapon. We'll just say we hit tier 2, and we'll say that we hit tier 1. So now we get to this step. This is where things get a little complicated. This is where things are going to get a little difficult, and this is where it's going to get really rough. So from here, we have to do the following. Cannot roll caster modifiers. And then we go exalt and hope for attack speed and miss, exalt again and hope for attack speed and miss. And then we go prefixes can't be changed, and we put that on instead. And then we go scour and we scour it. And then we do the same thing again, where now we go cannot roll caster modifiers. Oh, I just gazied it. Oh, dude. Okay, don't. Sax, if you're watching, I promise I'll be a little bit safer when I do it in real life. And then we click on the exalted orb. Better to mess up here than in real life. And then we do this again. And then can I have 2 of these in here? No. Okay, let's just scroll down. It's probably actually easier. And then we come down here, and we go like down here, and then we go prefixes can't be changed, and then we go scour, and then we go cannot roll caster. And then we're going to do this over and over and over and over and over and over and over until we somehow manage maybe manage to hit we somehow managed to maybe possibly hit attack speed. Come on over here. We look for tier 1 attack speed and we craft it on. So somehow, with the grace of God, we get here. feels pretty good. We then prefix can't be changed. Harvest crafting. I think it's crit. Where is it? It might be speed. I think it's crit. I think it's crit. This, add, remove, crit, click, lose speed, go back an entire step, do this, lose speed, go back an entire step, do this, hit crit chance, not tier 1, go back an entire step, do this, miss, go back an entire step, do this, miss, go back an entire step, do this, miss, go back an entire step. Oh no, dude. This is gonna be so much pain. The other option would be to get here, grab a veiled orb, and pray, and then hopefully unveil a really good suffix. And if not, go back to here and do it again. But that's it, man. That's how this wand is going to be made. And I know a lot of people have really good questions and they want to know how it's going to be made. They really, you know, they're intrigued by mirror crafting. They really don't understand it. And I just kind of wanted to showcase the steps of what you're going to be watching on stream, or what I might have already have done on stream, and just kind of steps to how to make weapons that look like this into a reality in the game. You see, there's a lot of pain even in the crafting video. There's a lot of pain to how to make this work. But I do want to keep this video a little bit on the shorter side. I do want to get this information out to you guys. I hope you did learn something today. If you did learn something, leave a like, a comment down below. You can comment on YouTube, you can comment on Rumble, you can let me know in the Discord, you can let me know in the live streams. I'll be all over the place. Or for now, friends, I'm gonna get this video out to you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.